for Black Girl Nerd.
Hey, welcome to our live Last of the Last of Us. Listen, I can't even talk already been gone a week and I can't talk. Welcome to our recap show of The Last of Us live here with Black Girl Nerds. My name is Jamie and I'm here with Ryan and Josh. Thank you guys for coming back. And thanks for holding it down last week. Appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you all for joining us. Episode 8 just aired, and we're here to talk about it. A lot went down. This was a very important, dramatic episode. Definitely a dynamic shift in the relationship between Ellie and Joel, and we'll get into that. But before we talk about The Last of Us, got to do the things, you guys. If you're on this stream right now, of course, there's different ways you can listen in. You can listen in live via Twitch. You can listen in live via Facebook. You can listen in live via YouTube. Also Twitter. If you are on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, do the things. It helps. We appreciate that. And follow us on Twitch and all of that, because eventually you'll see some gaming content. We talk about The Last of Us, and I think coming out soon, later this month, The Last of Us is going to be released on PC, so you might be seeing some streaming content happening.
Oh, there we go.
You never know. So you got to follow us in order to find out. How about that? There you go. So episode 8 of The Last of Us, we are going to get right into it. A man speaks in a voiceover. Oh, by the way, if you are listening live and particularly if you're listening in via YouTube and Facebook, as well as Twitch, engage with us. So feel free to ask questions. Feel free to leave comments. We will bring them up here on the stream and we will talk back to you. So as long as it's not trolls, as long as it's not negative stuff, and as long as it's not spoilers, all right? We don't do spoilers on this show. So as long as you are, obviously engaging with us about the content at hand, we're happy to go ahead and share that with the rest of our listeners, because not everybody played the game, okay? No. Not everybody got through to the end of the game like some people on this stream.
Right. Some of us tried and was beaten to submission. We didn't have the willpower or the fortitude.
Exactly. And to Nanto the Enigma, good evening, fellow melanated nerds. Good evening to you as well. Thank you for joining us. What's that?
I said melaners, nerdinated. We can make an amalgam here. We can do something.
There you go. Nerdinated.
Trademark it. Make it happen. Make it happen. So okay. Oh, and by the way, we got wine.
Sure do.
Oh yeah.
Sure do.
We got some drinks.
That's right.
So we
shout out to the McBride sisters. That's what I'm sipping on tonight.
A nice bottle of Chianti, if you know what I mean. Getting into the theme of the shenanigans that went down tonight. All right, so a man speaks in a voiceover reciting the scripture to Revelation 21, and holding his Bible, this man is preaching to a small group. He preaches to a little girl about mourning and the past. And she says to him and cries, "When can we bury my father?" And the man looks over at another man suspiciously, and he says that the ground is too cold to dig. The preacher's name is David, played by actor Scott Shepherd, and he is speaking with James, played by Troy Baker.
Legend!
The man, the legend, the myth. So yeah, Troy Baker, if you guys don't know already, he voiced Joel in the game. So very well known for The Last of Us fans. And also, if you watch the HBO Last of Us podcast, he's the host of that.
Oh, yeah.
So HBO got him working overtime is what I'm trying to say.
Go ahead. Get your money.
The guy.
He getting that check.
Get your money, Troy.
Get that money, Troy. So Troy Baker, he appears in this episode, and the last part of this, I just want to say, David, he senses some doubt from James, played by Troy, and asks him if he's still with him. So James is kind of not on the same page with David as we're getting a sense of this. But James says, yes, he's still with him. So I also want to mention before I take it over to Ryan and Josh here, that in the game, what happens now is Ellie is actually in control. So up until this point, and we're back at The Last of Us, by the way, because last episode, I wasn't here, but last episode was Left Behind. So now we're back at The Last of Us. And in the game, it's been always led by Joel, but now we're switching over to Ellie, who's now taking over in the game. So she is the main character. So anyway, stopping here, we'll go to Ryan first, and then Josh.
Yeah, this is before the creepiness starts, where David wasn't as creepy to me yet. I was still rocking with him for a minute, and Scott played this role because, dude, I do not want to have to be beside you walking down the street or something. Like, dude was mad creepy. So he really sunk into this role. But yeah, David it was kind of something weird. You were like, okay, what's he reciting right now? What's going down? What happened to her dad? There he is. So it's like, what happened to her dad? What's going down? But it was still not yet hitting. And then when James said, I'm still hanging in there, he's really not by his facial expressions. It doesn't look like he's hanging in there. But that's when you get that first inkling of, okay, something's wrong with this group. Like we got a group that's got it together and put together, and then we get the groups that are like just hanging on by a thread and some weirdness going on.
Yeah. No, this was, I feel like anytime you open with scriptures from Revelation, it's not going to go well. And I have a huge church background, so I don't even know how many people following are with me on it, but I immediately had Kirk Franklin playing in my head because he has a whole song that opens up with them scriptures, and like the whole thing was like, oh. Anyways,
okay.
Do you want a revelation? Whoop whoop.
Oh yeah, man.
All right.
There you go. There you go, Josh. Okay.
From the eye.
Yeah, buddy. All right.
Shout out Kirk Franklin being a legend.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely got major cult vibes. Anytime the faith leader of any time demands absolute unwavering faith with no doubt, I'm like, red flag. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was, at this point, I agree with you, Ryan. At this point, he was just weird. But, we've seen like weird like pastors and stuff before. So I was like, okay, like he's holding it down. Interesting time, I guess, to decide to follow religion. Charismatic pimp that use gospel tactics. Yes. That's it. That's
there you go.
All right, everyone. It's been a great night. We just but no, he was weird. But at this point, like I said, it was early, and we didn't know. We had no idea. Or at least I didn't know. I had no idea where it was going. And I did like that interaction where he's like, I need to know that you're still with me. And he was clearly not still with him. And just like, okay, cool. Like, let's see what happens next.
Yeah, Gaijin Flip, love the name. Don't want to spoil anything, but that young girl who David slapped is a certain somebody, right? I don't think so. I think I know who you're thinking of, but that was who we saw in episode 5.
Oh, at the other encampment with his brother.
Yeah,
the girl who like briefly came out.
Yeah. So, but we'll get to her in a minute because it's kind of messed up what happens to her. Kim Possible, yes, weird preacher vibe indeed. Can we get a good preacher for a change? Yeah. Preachers get a bad rep. Poor thing. So yeah, did you wrap up your thoughts there, Josh? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yep. Shout out Kirk Franklin.
Yeah, and I just shout out to Kirk Franklin, and I just want to throw up. Well, yeah, that's the opening there of Scott Shepherd as David doing his preacher things, and shout out to the man Troy Baker right there.
But
I don't think I've ever actually seen what he looks like. He's just a voice.
Yeah. A lot of people haven't. And again, he hosts, which I believe it's a show that you can see, a podcast currently for The Last of Us. So you can see more of him outside of this show because we know what happens
Right.
in the episode. Not from the second game. Oh no, I meant somebody from the second game. Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh wow, you're season 2.
Yeah. Again, I know who you're talking about. I don't think that's the person that you're referring to, the little girl. No. So okay. So the next part is Ellie continues to nurse Joel, but she is running out of food. She decides to go hunt for food. Ellie spots a deer and shoots it. It's a hit. It is hit, excuse me, but it manages to run away. It doesn't run very far because David and James spot the dead deer on their trail. They know that a shooter is nearby, but before they could take the deer, Ellie tells the men to drop their rifles. David reasons with Ellie and offers her half of the deer in exchange for whatever she wants. She asks for medicine for infections, and she instructs David to have James go back to get it, and she'll make the trade. She unloads the bullets from their rifles, which was a good move. I love that. I love seeing that move where she just unloads those bullets. And then she heads back to the cabin with David to start a warm fire while they wait for James. So I'm going to stop there and ask for your thoughts about that scene.
Can we just talk about how I was getting ready to cry when she was like giving him water and like little food to Joel? It was it was the saddest thing I was like, oh my God. I was like, why are they doing this to us? Like, we already in with the snitch with her snitching him up. And I'm like, now we're at like the little food on the blank. I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot make it right now. I was like, what is going on with Joel? And then like, so she goes out and I'm thinking, oh boy, I'm like, is she gonna find any food? Are they gonna sneak right up on her in the beginning? But yeah, she held it on. I mean, we know Ellie, we're not really sure, we know she was at the academy, but we like, girl, where you getting all these gangster skills from? And maybe it's just a fight because she's realizing she has to take care of Joel now. And she sees him as a dad. So maybe that's just what's propelling her to figure out all this stuff. And what do you do when you got that pressure on you? How do you think about it? She's like, I know I need food. Let me go out here and do what I got to do. And the way she played with David and James was fantastic. She was like, she's telling them to back up. She's like, okay, well, what you got? She's not stressing them. She never takes her eyes off. She never drops the gun. So she's picking up the tips. And, Joel is training her well, even though he's always like worried that she can't do everything. She's learning, she's picking it up. So, and definitely I agree with Jamie. I love how she unloaded the guns because I wasn't even thinking that. I was just like, as long as they're backed up away from grabbing the guns. But she was like, no, I'll make sure these bullets are out. You come, you follow me, you drag the deer because I know I can't carry it, where there's something in his hand. So yeah, I love her manipulation in this scene. So it was fantastic by Bella in this scene.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When she went out the house to hunt, that's when my nerves started to get bad. I was like, It was like because the last time we saw her, she couldn't really shoot. So I'm like, you ain't got no practical skills yet. Like you're learning, but you're not ready to go on patrol on your own. But what's the alternative? Like to starve. So I'm like, you have to. Like, there's no choice.
Right.
But then she goes out and she immediately like trips into the snow and like the gun falls out of her hand. I was like, oh my God, girl, this is not going well. But then so that's right. So she shoots it, and then the deer like pops up, and we see like David and James, and that to me, that's the point. Obviously, we know what happens with her later on in the episode, but I feel like she turned one of several corners in this episode because that's like you said, Ryan. That's when she got real gangster. Like she put some bass in her voice. She had the gun up, and she gave all the directions. And I was like, I was scared for her because I'm like, girl, you can't fight yet still. Like that's been Joel's contribution. No matter what happens,
exactly.
Joel can throw some hands, he can cut somebody, and you haven't been able to do that yet. So I was nervous. But again, like, she was really taking on the responsibility of like our survival is in my hands. So I have to go further and do more than even what possibly I think I can do. And I feel like she did her best in that moment. I laughed a little bit when she told him to take 10 steps back, but then she took 10 steps forward. I know that she was like taking the bullets out the gun, but I'm just like, girl, you're exposing yourself. I mean, even the fact that when Dave was like, go get the penicillin, this might be in the next thing. And James was looking at him, was like, it's not a code, man. Just go do it. I was like, because I thought it was a code. I thought that was code for go out of sight, circle around her, and cap her between the head. But you know, she was doing her best to sell it. And she was like, you do anything other than what I say, I'm putting one right between your eyes. I really want her to shoot someone in the leg at that moment, just to like drive it home.
Yep.
Just be like, now you really got to hurry because he's going to bleed out in the next 4 hours.
Yeah.
But she wasn't quite that gangster, although I do feel like that changed over the course of the episode.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. I do want to read a couple of comments. Nanto the Enigma says, Ellie made a grave mistake. Always know where the exits are. Keep your back against the wall. Never enter a room you can't get out of. And I feel like Nanto is probably a gamer, because that's like a gamer strategy right there, is to always know where those exits are. So sometimes we're a little bit more smarter than the actual characters that we're playing. And Kim Possible says it's the will to survive. Joel has her back, so she has his back, just like the Mandalorian. They are a clan to two. Aww. Yeah. Pedro Pascal, he's like the daddy of all daddies. He's the daddy of all daddies.
But he look a little like Goguru in this one, though. I'm just
a weird phrase.
I know that could be taken.
Did you see he was on the carpet? He didn't want to read the salacious tweets on the carpet at the premiere of The Mandalorian.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they gave, it's like the thirst trap tweets, and the reporter gave it to him, and he was like, I can't read that. It's dirty. No.
Oh,
yeah, Pedro, you're so cute.
He's so adorable. And Nanto says, gamer and vet.
We
appreciate your service.
Okay, there you go.
We appreciate your service. Thank you.
Yep.
Cool. So then we're going to move over to what happens next, which is David invites Ellie to come to his group, and she refuses. She has a small chat with she has a small chat with David, and he says that he found God after the apocalypse, and that's how he became a preacher. He says that he believes everything happens for a reason, and David tells a story about how he and 4 men go out to search for supplies, and only 3 came back, and 1 was murdered by a crazy man that had a little girl with him. So now Ellie knows that he's on to her. Ellie realizes that he's actually talking about her and Joel, and James now has his gun at this point pointed directly at Ellie. David commands James to lower his gun. David tells her that she won't survive long and that he can protect her, and Ellie runs off. And I just want to add that this is great context to like David's MO and just even some backstory as to how he became a preacher. We don't get this in the game. So I love this added context that the show brings us in The Last of Us. So Ryan and then Josh.
Yeah, it ups the creepy factor to give him a backstory, because it was mad weird to have him in the game, and he had some weird elements, but it's now you have that backstory. You're like, ooh, this guy's super sick. Like something is weird with this dude.
Yeah.
He's definitely got that whole cult vibe. I'm trying to save everybody. We have to have this hope to believe. It's like, dude, you power tripping, and you trying to get all these people to follow you because they like these people are trying to find some kind of hope somewhere and somebody to lead them somewhere. So he's like, oh, that's got to be me, right? Because I'm the preacher. It's got to be me. So yeah, he's definitely letting on. And Ellie is just reading them. She's like, so you went from teacher to preacher because it rhymed. I love when she threw that line in there. She's just like reading them for feels, like everything he throws at her. She's like, dude, I know where you coming from. You ain't doing nothing for me. Go ahead and help James get back on my medicine. We just gonna sit here and keep talking. So I get what I need. But I love how she's so cool in the scene. And you see the little smirk on her face and everything. That was just, I loved it. But yeah, David was mad. Yeah, there she goes. I like how she was just stern on. He was like, he was talking to a little girl, like he kind of coaxed her over with like some candy or something. And Ellie like, I ain't got time for this. I know what your game is. Just go ahead, stop talking right now. But yeah, this scene was played real well. And David, you still get mad creepy, bruh. It's about to get extra, but you get mad creepy.
And I do want to add that Scott Shepherd like annihilated this role, and he was far more creepier and as this character David than the actual David in the game. So
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
props to Scott Shepherd. Yeah,
Yeah, that was immaculately done. Yeah, this is definitely where like the creep vibe started to like come up. He was just like, just come with me and I can protect you. Just come with me. He just kept saying that. I was like, all right, well, this is getting a little weird. And then I started thinking about the girl at the beginning, and I'm just like, And then like the opening scene where they kind of panned around, I was like, hold up, there's not a lot of men here. So that's a huge red flag. It's a lot of like women,
right?
handful of men. And
Good
this
point.
like, yeah, you're a creep. I don't know where this is going, but you, sir, are creepy. But yeah, when he dropped that bomb on her, I was like, oh snap! Didn't see that coming. What a twist! But then it also made me like, I think that's also why I started to like hate him more. It's like, okay, you're definitively just horrific, because we know that Joel wasn't the crazy one. We know that they went in there like some rabid animals. And it was just on site. So I was like, oh, okay. Like you're just all kinds of messed up. And you're one of those who'll do anything to survive. I was like, yeah, you're a weirdo. And even like little stuff, when she said, when she said that he was a cult leader, this fool didn't even have the decency to say, no, it's a fellowship. It's a brotherhood. We serve the divine one. He could have said any number of things. And he was like, well, you got me there. I was like, yeah, no thanks. The hard pass. Hard pass.
Yeah. Big time hard pass. So what happens next is Ellie injects Joel with medicine. And back at David's settlement, a man brings out some chopped meat in a kitchen. And the cook asks him, what is it? And he replies, medicine. The cook has a worried look on her face. And we're like, okay, well, why does she look worried? But we'll go with it. David and James arrive back with deer, and everyone knows the news of Joel being in town. The man he killed was the father of the young girl in the first scene. And she tells David, you should kill him. And he walks up to her, Will Smith style, by the way.
Oh, crap. Oh,
not on the Will Smith style.
Oh, man.
And slaps her across the face. And they pray over their meal and eat. So I'm going to stop there. That'll be my last Will Smith joke.
Jamie was gone for a week and came back wild.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean, in celebration of Chris Rock's stand-up last night, I had to get that one out there. But anyways, what are your thoughts about that scene?
Boy, Will Smith and the memes, boy, he ain't gonna never be able to escape that. Lord.
It just gave new life off of the.
But it was Will Smith style, right? Like he walks.
I mean,
up to her.
He winded it up. I was like, sir, excuse you. What happened to we leading this cult? I'm a leader, and I need to help you get to this hope that you're reaching for, and I need to take care of you. And he just up here slapping people. I'm like, sir, what are you doing? And then the other thing that got me to, the other thing I paid attention to in the scene was when they sat down to finally eat. It looked like he had more food than everybody else? But granted, when you find out later what happened, I don't know, I would have wanted more food, but it kind of looked like he had a little bit more than everybody else. So I was like, well, that's the problem with everybody being hungry. Like, what are you eating? It looked like everybody else was eating like soup, but he had like most of it on his plate. So I was just, with that little girl, I would have slyly found a way to try to trip him or something. Like, I would have been so pissed. I was like, the way he winded that thing up, though, I was like, sir, come on now. Yeah, he's just real disrespectful. This scene was just real disrespectful. That's
real disrespectful.
Yeah, no, same. That was definitely like peak manipulation. I was like, yo, like you're gonna slap her, and then I was just like, what is it? Like setting himself up as like for the Stockholm situation. It's like, yeah, I hurt you, but I hurt you to help you. And also I'm your only means to life. I was like, yo, this is just classic manipulative tactics.
Yeah.
But when people are desperate and powerless, it's just like, well, what else are you going to do? And also I feel like a little bit of a dig at just faith structures in general that become super politicized, where they will take advantage of the people, but you're the person of the cloth, so it's okay if you sleep with so and so's wife or you do this with the money. It's just like, you get a free pass to do whatever you want because you're so enlightened and wise. So yeah, there was a lot of that, and that's also why I love this show, because it was only 50 minutes, but they were able to take these like scenes and give like essays and give dissertations in like
Yes.
15 seconds worth of scene. And I was like, oh, so good. Yes, I did also catch that too, Ryan, that he had more food, because like he was eating and everyone else was like clink, 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 clink,
Yeah.
clink. We already ran out of food, clink, clink.
Yeah.
I peeped that too.
That was from Kim Possible, by the way. You said Ryan.
Well, yeah, Ryan said it earlier in her speech.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all.
It's the wine. It's the wine.
No, I think that's just Jamie. I think Jamie is like, you know what? I got some stuff to get off my chest.
You know, truth be told, Jamie be forgetting stuff. But also, you know, gaslighting is also a big thing too with this preacher, which we'll find out more later when it comes to like making people feel like this is a necessary evil. I have to do this in order to protect you, in order for you to survive. And some men of the cloth do that quite often in order to keep their positions of power, which is pretty sad. But yeah. So this, like you said, a dissertation could be written just on like this episode, or just like certain scenes of this episode.
Yeah.
The big piece of chicken metaphor. Yeah. Chris Rock reference again. Yes.
Shout out Chris Rock.
Shout out to Chris Rock. So then I keep forgetting my space here. So then after, did we get this part?
Oh, wait. Sorry. One last thing. Was I also the only one who Googled how long it takes penicillin to act?
No,
but that's a good point, though.
That's a good question.
I was curious about that too.
Because she like gave it to him, and the next day, my guy was like ready for action. I was like, huh? 3 to 5 days.
Yeah, and that's a good question, because in the game it does happen like literally instantly too. So you know, the show, the timelines kind of match the way they did it in the game. But yeah, I'm like, wow, that was some quick recovery for Joel's very severely wounded injury there.
Right.
Yeah. I like the way she hit him too. Like, where'd I put this? And Joel is just like hanging on for dear life.
Right.
David is the leader. He gets the big piece of chicken. Yeah, that's true. So after Ellie has nursed Joel, she sees intruders invading on their property, and Ellie tells Joel to wake up, but she still can't move. Ellie gets on her horse to distract them from getting to Joel, and then James shoots down Ellie's horse and she falls. James is about to shoot Ellie, but David shoots his gun in the air, which stops him. Ellie is unconscious, and David brings her back to his settlement. In the meantime, he tells the men to deliver justice and get Joel. The men enter Joel's compound, and miraculously, as we just discussed, through this speedy recovery of penicillin, he wakes up in time to defend himself against the attackers. So I'll stop there and ask for your thoughts.
Man, just again with Ellie just ready to go. Like, she gave him the knife, and she was like, look, I need you to be alert. Stop going to sleep. I need you to know these people are coming, so you need to do something. But this is, Josh, you said your moment was earlier. This is my moment with Ellie where my heart started to beat fast and I started to get real nervous. Because I was like, there ain't no way. I was like, it's 5 of them guys. They're like super tall, all with the rifles. I was like, oh God, it's no way. Like, how's she going to get out of this? Like, what is she going to do? You know, she barricades Joel in. And then when she takes off, I'm like, oh God, she's not going to be able to get away. Because she fires a couple of little shots. You know, it's like a little bad Western for a minute where she's like pointing her hand back. It's like trying to get away, but you know it's not. Like, as soon as they hit that horse, I was like, oh my God, what is getting ready to happen here? And she's weak, like she has anything to eat. She does, you know, like she can't even run that far, right? So like another one of those like face plant moments she has, and you just like, she just cannot catch a break this episode, no matter what she does. But I mean, maybe you give like David like a half a point for what happens to the scene, because you know the guys wanted to take her out. You know, obviously, because they see the threat.
Yeah.
So, and you know, and they're mad about their homie, you know, that got taken out. So it's like, you know, I guess that's where he gets like a half a point, but dude is still like needs to be gone. But I guess at least he kept her from taking out at that moment. Because I'm like, come on now, you got a little girl that's defenseless. Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. Sis could not catch a break for nothing. I started to feel bad for her. I know it was hard on her last week on the episode, but I was like, dang, Ellie, you are really like going above and beyond, and you just keep getting shut down. Like, this sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, when she woke him up or whatever, and she puts the knife in his hand, and then I just didn't understand the plan. Like, I understood that she was trying to, like, she's like, I'm gonna lead them away. But again, I feel like proximity is like her kryptonite. She got so close to them to tell them, like, hey, I'm over here. I was like, girl, you know you need like 200 yards out. Because every time you get close, it don't work out for you. And I mean, I know James is the bad guy, but props to him for like heading her off and then shooting the horse. And I knew it was a wrap for her at that point. And actually, I was very curious if they were going to like be practical or if it was going to be like a superhero like show where she's going to be like, that hurt, and then run into the forest. But they didn't.
Yeah.
You know, they honored it. It's like, yeah, girl, your horse was full tilt and got popped, and you got slung off the horse. You're not walking away from that. Like, you're going to be unconscious. So I thought that was cool. I was happy to see my man Joel like back in action. Put that knife in his whole throat and just held it there. Like, yeah, show him what's up. Yeah, I agree. So like the way when they were, I had a few thoughts. So when Ellie was on the ground, she was unconscious, and the three of the dudes just sit around looking at her. I was like, well, this feels like it's gonna get creepy dark. And then homeboy just wanted to kill her. And I was like, okay, well, I know that's not going to happen. And then, you know, David shoots his gun or whatever and disperses them. I was like, okay, you are villainous because you just told them if you want vengeance, go out and make it happen. So you endorse crazy as long as the crazy serves you. But it was the way he held Ellie in his arms when he walked away. I was like, that's creepy. That's a little too intimate. Like, it wasn't like a sack or like anything. Like, you know, it was like I don't know how he did it as an actor, selling like the intensity with just a little bit of softness, but he did. And I was like, ooh, don't like this at all. Don't like this at all.
When I live tweeted, I was like, he's on some like Epstein level ish. Like, he's that dude. Yeah.
He would have been on the island.
Yeah. I mean, he literally has, even though he's kind of got this whole cult going on with adults as well as younger girls, he wanted Ellie as his muse, and that's kind of gross.
And I don't know if it was intentional in the verbiage, but even after he slapped the girl, he's like, you think that you don't have a daddy, but you'll always have a daddy. I'm like, yo, what is this?
What
is this? Please stop, sir. This is absolutely not exactly like he had done it before.
Yeah,
to seduce children.
Absolutely. I think he was impressed. Well, he mentions it. He's impressed that Ellie is very smart and witty, and he feels like she's on his level, and he wants her to be his concubine, you know? It's just
pull out that Bible word. Yeah. Shout out to any teenage girls watching this right now. If any grown man says they feel like you're on their level, run away fast.
Run for the hills. Yes.
Run. And call someone on the way.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So Ellie is now David's prisoner and is inside of a cage. David insists that he can protect her, and he wants Ellie to trust him. Joel manages to take two of David's men hostage and demands them to tell him where Ellie is. Joel stabs one of the men in the knee. He then takes the knife, puts the dull end in his mouth, and demands to have him point on the map where Ellie is. This scene, by the way, plays exactly the same way in the game. So that was kind of a cool moment. Cool. Yeah. Yep. Same way in the game. He then kills the man. He killed the man in the game as well. And Joel goes to the second man, and the man says, I'm not telling you shit. And Joel says, I believe him. And I think in the game he says, I believe you. So there's like one word change. But other than that, it's pretty much shot for shot. So I'll stop there and ask for your thoughts.
when Ellie wakes up in a cage, I was trying to remember if this is the moment where she's like, "Why am I in a cage?" And he's like, "Because I'm scared of you." And I thought that was interesting because I'm like, okay, so this is a little girl right now. We all know Ellie a G, but it's like, so you got her in a cage, but you supposed to be Mr. I got this figured out. Oh, this is how
Right.
this goes. So I think for her, or I know for me in that situation when it's like you feel like you have nothing else to give, I'm in this cage, what do I do next? The fact that you're scared of me, oh, I'm gonna work that. The fact that I just found out that you're scared of me, something for you to work there. I thought that was really interesting there. But yeah, and just I was so happy to get some weapons, y'all, for Joel. I was like, Joel, get it. I was like, when he hit when he had it at the kneecap, he was like, no, you better start telling me some details. Like it gets real when you gotta take, and then he takes it out the leg and points at the map with the knife. I was like, whoo! I was like, Joel ain't playing. He's like, you better tell me right now where my daughter is. He was like, where is she? He was going gangster on that. Like that was some hardcore. Like, yeah, you better put it out right now. And then when he took the pipe or whatever he had, I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Stop grabbing those jammed up guns. This is what I'm talking about, Joe. Let's go. So he got to keep this rhythm going right now. We got to keep it going.
Yeah, no, that whole sequence was absolutely fantastic. I love how, like you said, like Ellie keeps playing David. I think that is the one thing I loved most in this episode about her than perhaps any other episode, and it's probably just because of the situation that she's in, but she never stops calculating. Like in the other episodes, like she would do whatever it took, and then she would kind of like recede a little. But in this episode, every single moment, like she's assessing, she's like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? What can I say? And it's like, it's constant. You can like see her like honestly like taking everything. I was like, yes, Ellie. But my man Joel hitting him with that anatomy, the knife's in your knee. If I twist it, I'm gonna pop your kneecap off.
That is
Like,
painful.
can you do that? I've never heard of that. That's new for me. Yeah, all of that was like, yo, I felt like the Avengers music should have been playing in the background.
Something. Yeah.
Because I'm like, yo, this is wildly hype. But yeah, he and the fact that it that it opens with I can't remember the dude's name, but the dude who was like tied up against the piano, him like slowly coming back to consciousness, and you just hear like the thud sound, and it's like, what is that? And then it's Joel just punching this dude in the face, just with the last of his strength, just bah,
yeah.
Bah. I was like, yo, yeah, Joel, y'all messed up. He came back and y'all took his daughter, and he's not even going like levels. He just hit level 10. He's like, yeah, I used to kill people, and that switch is like, it's right here. I can turn it on at any given moment. Yeah, the kneecap thing, and then like you said, putting the knife in his mouth. I was like, he likes this move. I like this move. Hey, what you tell me better line up exactly with what he's about to tell me. Surprise, you're gonna die anyways. Dang. And then then he's like, it's okay, I believe him. And then bashed his brains out. I was like, yo, Joel's back, everyone. He's back.
Yeah.
Right. My man, the king has returned.
The king has returned. Half dead Joel is based. I love it. I'm here for it. So Ellie is served food by David, and she's stunned because she sees an ear and blood on the floor. And David insists that the food that he's given her is deer meat. Yeah, full cap on that. Ellie asks if she's going to be chopped up into little pieces. David says that he'd rather not and asks for Ellie's name. Ellie yells at him for eating people and calls him an animal, as she should. And David said that only a few people know, and he only did it so that people wouldn't starve because they depend on him. Gaslighting 101. And David says that he sees himself in Ellie. Manipulation 101. David says he learned from the cordyceps how to live, which that was a very interesting monologue about the cordyceps, because there was some truth in that. And that they feed and protect its children and resort to violence as a method of doing so. David says he is the shepherd surrounded by sheep, and that all he wants is an equal and a friend. Whew. So a lot went on in this scene. So I'll stop there and ask for your thoughts.
I was gonna be so sick. I'm telling y'all, when I found out they was eating the dead, I was like, I just gotta take a break or something. I gotta get up. It's just so nasty. I don't even know. I got nothing. I was just sitting there looking at the screen, like, why? And then I felt so bad for Ellie just sitting there, like, well, what are they gonna do to me? How do I get out of these? You know, because the dude is coming back like every 5 minutes. She's calculating, but he's coming back like every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, checking to see where she is because she was trying to work like the bolts and everything and trying to get out of there, but he just kept coming back. And then the fact that it was the little girl that he slapped, he already disrespected, probably eating her dad.
It was her dad that she ate for dinner.
Dude, I was like, y'all need prayer, Jesus, something. Like, are you really got Jesus? Because you might need something. I don't know. Like, something was just so left for me. Like, I think I just kind of like blacked out everything else he's talking about. I was still on the fact that he was like eating people. And I was just like, let me get to the end. Just let me push to the end of this episode because I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, she needs to get away from these people as fast as possible.
Man, the other white meat.
Oh my God.
On fire tonight.
I was gonna be so sick.
Dang, that girl got slapped and she ate her dad in the same night. Damn.
Yo, what a time. That is a true villain origin story right there.
I know, right? That's a reason to become a villain.
Man, yeah, I would be unrepentant. Yeah, that reveal, like it all clicked in my head at the same time. I was like, oh snap, so he my God. Just my God. Yeah, it's horrific. It was horrific. And like Ellie, I just felt bad for Ellie because like I can't imagine like being in that cage and like the conversation is, are you gonna rape me or are you gonna eat me? Like what? Like she had to know that's where it was. And I'm like, yo, what do you do? And the fact that she was just like still like trying to play it cool, trying to calculate.
Yeah.
I appreciate it because when the cannibalism thing like came out, I was like, okay, we've heard 1,000 reasons to like eat people in various like stories and stuff. So when he took it to the cordyceps thing as it being like natural, I was like, okay, I can appreciate like the philosophical bend here. Completely erroneous, but I could appreciate, okay, this is what you're saying, like the violence and he's like, and they they take care of each other, they procreate and all that. But then it got weird because he was like, they love. I'm like, now, sir. Yeah, peace.
Well, I think he was more saying that they protect their children, and they do that through violence, which he's not lying.
He's not
in a weird, like, perverted way. There's some truth to it, but of course he's being very manipulative in this
absolutely
monologue to Ellie. But
trying to get her, like you said, trying to get her to be one of.
But they're all about procreating. Yeah. But it's not like they have brains and they actually know what they're doing. Yeah.
And that was the disconnect for me. It's like, again, what you're saying about gaslight. I'm like, you're taking something that's true and you're bending it at the fringes to get what you want. Because that's, like you said, they're not. It's not conscious, which was established in the first episode. It's just like it's a reaction. That's what they do as like the bacteria and the fungus and stuff.
Right.
And then it just keeps evolving on its own. But yeah, the whole thing was weird. And then as soon as he was like, all of it was. And shout out to Shepard for absolutely selling the scene.
Oh,
he was just like, imagine how hard it is for me. Imagine how hard it is for me. I need an equal. I see myself in you. I need a friend. And at that moment, I am positive somewhere in some prison cell, someone started singing, "My mind is telling me no."
And I'm sure he could relate.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna keep it at that because I'm trying to keep this stream PG at least, or PG-13.
You saw where I paused it.
They over here eating people. Just forget it. They over here eating people, so it's out the window.
Yeah, eating people, slapping little girls, eating little girls slap their own fathers and then attempting
Yeah.
to seduce a teenager to be
Yeah,
part of
like
his
I'm done. Like,
harem.
whatever PG is out the window. Like, what? I'm just.
I was gonna go there, but never mind. I'm not even gonna go there with R. Kelly.
to bring it back to Save, it was also a little bit of Star Wars. He's like, we can rule the galaxy together as well, not father and son, but
Yeah.
little bit of Darth Vader, Luke energy there. If Darth Vader was trying, nope, it gets dark again. Never mind.
Yeah. Yep. See.
Luke, let me show you what my lightsaber can do. Anyways.
Oh man, but going back to what you were saying about Scott Shepherd, just a testament to his performance. Like every actor on this show is just so damn good. Like I'm just amazed at the performances that we have seen every single episode and the consistency around that. I'm just blows my mind. Like they really have been bringing in some talented folks. And of course, I love the fact that Neil and Craig, of course, are bringing in the OGs from the video game to be a part of this series. So yeah, I'm sure was geeking out like crazy when they saw Troy. So yeah, good stuff. So David says if Joel leaves his men in peace, he will let him go. Full cap on that. He wants Ellie to be his muse and build a life together. He reaches his hand to Ellie, and Ellie breaks his fingers. Gangsta. And Joel is now going after Ellie. So quick side note here. Up until this point, Ellie is in full control for people that play the game. So now this is the point in the game where it switches back to Joel. So just for, the gamer folks out there. Joel now spots Ellie's belongings and knows that she's nearby. He then spots human corpses hanging like they're in a meat locker. And James and David takes Ellie to the cutting table. David has a butcher knife and draws it. Ellie tells him that she's not infected, and he pauses. Ellie quickly grabs the butcher knife while they're distracted and starts looking at her scars, and she takes the knife and plunges it into James's neck. Eee. He dies instantly. She runs away, finds a piece of burning wood and a fireplace, and throws it at David. She misses, and the wood, still lit, catches fire. The wood is still lit. It's on fire, and then as it hits the curtains, the fire spreads into flames. The flames grow very fast, but the place is locked, and David is the only one with the key. So a lot is going on here, and I'm going to stop there and ask for your thoughts.
It's just amazing to me how people that are so evil and so creepy can still be dumb. Like it's still that sliver of dumbness that's there. Because it's like you just talked about how she could be on the same level as you, help you take this, community to the next level, and then you're gonna fall for that. She really fall in love with you that quick. Like he reaches his hand in there, she's doing the whole like, oh, well, let me hold his hand or whatever, and then snaps that joint. I was like, get it. But I was like, I don't know why he fell for this. Because I'm like, dude, you supposed to be like, I thought you was understanding who she was, right? Like, you know who Ellie was, but you came to the cage like it was that easy for you to break her walls down and understand where she was at. So I love how she used that to her advantage. Like I said, as soon as she figured out, Josh said as well, that calculating, and when she figured out he was scared of her, she was like, I can keep working this all day. But I'm gonna tell you something though. I was on the edge of my seat like this right here when she got put on the table. I was like, oh my God. I was like, because she couldn't, like her hands, she couldn't move her hands at all. I didn't see the butcher thing. I was like, they are not getting ready to chop off a finger or something. Because she wasn't gonna, I'm like, she's not gonna die. But I'm like, are they gonna chop something before she gets off the table? Because it was just so close. Like there was no way for her to move. And it was so, So I was like, when she pulled out, I forgot about the infected part of it. And I was like, okay, all right, cool. We good now. We got a good move now. She can distract them. And the last thing I'm going to say on this scene is pour it out for Troy. You did your thing, but you had to go, bro, because you was James's time. So you had to go. But you did your thing.
Did anyone else feel conflicted by James? Like, even though he's a bad character, the fact that Troy Baker was playing him, I was like,
that's hard.
I don't really hate James that much.
Yeah, they got us. They play that well. They play that.
That's how I felt at the end.
Hate him or love him.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's how I felt at the end. Because like I said, I've never seen Troy Baker. He's just the master voice guy.
Right.
And so when I saw that it was him, I was like, well, maybe I feel differently about James now. we need to revisit his perspective here. You know, maybe he was just victimized by David. It isn't really his fault. He didn't do anything. He wanted to kill her. He didn't want to take advantage of her. Yeah, I don't know why David fell for that. Like, bro, you just said she's violent like you violent, and you know that you are wild violent. So what are you doing? But again, kudos to Ellie's gangster. Like the way she like softened her eyes, walked over, like did one hand and then two hands. I knew what was coming. I was like, yeah, this is Pedro's daughter. This is Joel's daughter, right? We should say. Don't you about to be in a world of pain. But yeah, I was also a little scared when they put her on the table because I was like, again, I don't know. Obviously, we've well established Josh did not make it through the first game. But I remembered from when Joel went into like the barn and saw like the bodies, they were all headless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, surely I'm not about to watch Ellie get decapitated. That can't be what's about to happen. I was like, maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe they'll try and miss. And then like if they miss the head, then something else is gonna come off and she's gonna have like one hand for the rest. I was like, this is very stressful. Like you guys are taking this through the line. And like my nerves can't handle it. But then she's still calculating. When she said the infected bit, it was funny because the effect that it had on them is the same effect it had on me. Because I got to thinking, I was like, wait a minute. Well, I know she couldn't heal, buddy, but can she infect him just that quick? And then right as I'm thinking about that, whoop, she grabbed the axe, bam, killed Troy Baker. I was like, yo, you are just on it, girl. And she booked it out of there. And then with the fire thing, this might have been my own projection, but I felt like the way Shepard played it with David is like when the fire first catches on the curtain, is like he looks at it and is like, responsibly, I should put the fire out because it's a small community, blah, blah, blah. But then it seems like he turns away and he's like, I would rather make this point. I would rather demonstrate my power than be responsible, which seems to be his personality all along. Like he chooses flexing his power over being responsible pretty much every step of the way.
Right.
And that again, and without any real words, without someone saying, hey man, shouldn't you put the fire out? Like they didn't have to do all that. It's just like he looks at it and then he just turns around and gets creepy. Ellie. And yeah, all that. And that whole time I was like, I know Joel's out here, but my man has expelled a lot of energy. Yeah. And I don't know how close he is. He may not get here in time to save the day, and it didn't look like he was going to. But yeah, I love Ellie, even in this moment. Like she fought like she didn't roll over at one time. Other episodes, she's kind of like fell short, but this one, like she maxed out every single time. And it was just great to watch. But yeah, I was terrified when they put her on the table. I'm like, oh, you are all the way powerless, and it's two of them, girl.
Excellent perspective on David there. I didn't even think about that, about the power dynamic, and the irresponsibility of it all, and how he could have had a moment to be responsible and put the fire out, but he's like, no, I'm going to wield this power over you in this moment. So I like that perspective. And by the way, this all plays out exactly the same way in the game, from the way James dies to the fire spreading throughout the compound. Yeah, all of this. So this back and forth and this tussle between Ellie and David does happen. So David says that neither one of them are dying today, and he's going to keep her and teach her to work with him. This is the final scene in this episode. David mounts her, and the butcher knife is nearby. She manages to grab it and stabs David to death. Ellie escapes outside, and Joel grabs her. At first, she thinks that she's getting attacked again, but she sees that it's Joel. She's still in shock. You see blood splattered all over her, and Joel grabs and holds her tightly, and he says, it's all right, and he calls her baby girl. And my heart melts. Yeah. This is a very important scene, and the moment, because when he says baby girl, that is a reference towards Sarah. He calls Sarah baby girl. So the fact that he is now calling Ellie this sort of seals their relationship at this point, and he's officially taken Ellie under his wing. So they walk off together in the distance, and the episode ends. And before I take it to you guys, I just want to show this image. So this is from the game, obviously. The fight, or the reunion rather, between Joel and Ellie actually still happens while the flames are around them and they're still inside. So there's a little bit of deviation, but it's the same way where Joel tells Ellie, baby girl, and I got you, baby girl. And so it's so important, and it just rips me to shreds when I heard that moment play out in this show, because I was just like, oh, he said it. He said, baby girl. So anyways, I'll take it to you for your thoughts of this scene and episode 8 in its totality.
Yeah, I was so glad when David got stabbed, because it was absolutely no reason besides your perv to sit on top of her. Absolutely not. Like, it wasn't even all of it. Like, it didn't even take all that. We already knew David was like over the top extra. You already got stabbed in the stomach, dude. So I'm like, why can't you just lay down and be gone? Like, that's why I couldn't figure out why the moment wasn't done after she already stabbed him once in the stomach. But I love this moment though, for just young women, or just the people that feel like victims. When you're in that moment, right, and you don't know what else to do, you keep fighting. Like, you keep fighting in that moment. And I think that was an important message for them to do, because she was like, I know you're bigger than me. I know you can overpower me, but if you're going to do something to me, I'm going to take as much as you with me as I can. She was like grabbing for everything she could. She was moving around. And, you never know what you're going to do in a situation like that. But I just love how that message was, she never stopped. It was like, like he was going to have to kill her for her to stop fighting him to get out of that. And I love that message that it sent there. But yeah, and that, like, the moment where the two of them finally get the hug, like, she's been taking care of Joel and he's barely saying anything, on his last leg. And the baby girl moment, I love that, because Joel was just limping through the snow. He didn't have no money. He didn't have anything else to give. She was at her last was in, and you could see something about Ellie that snapped, and she needed him, at that moment. And I like how he was finally able to be there for her after she's been carrying this heavy load for so long. Like, even last episode, like, carrying so much of a load, and it was finally for him to be like, okay, look, I got you. Like, we still in this together. We're going to get to where we need to go. You can relax a little bit. But yeah, they played that moment. Her, Pedro and Bella, with the blood and like I said, both of them are giving, it's like they giving everything they got, and they leaving it right here in every scene, like every one of these scenes. And it's just amazing to watch. And I was going to end on, have you guys tried to Google yet, like, The Last of Us, and seen the little mushroom thing pop up on the screen? And it's like the vines and everything take over. I thought that, I was like, I wonder if they're going to keep that going, like, as the season goes. I didn't know I thought they were going to do like the first couple episodes.
Yeah, Google did some kind of cool Google Doodle with The Last of Us, where if you type it in, it's got the cordyceps vines, and they keep growing and growing and growing, and it's kind of creepy, but it's really cool.
I was like the details on the show, man. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh, what did you think about that?
I mean, I think Kim said it, like, to attempt rape while the building's on fire is beyond sick. Like, you're stabbed, building on fire. Like, what? Like, that's just insane. But I think, again, it goes to the type of person that he always was. Even when he snapped, and I won't like use the word, but when he snapped when she was in the cage, after she broke his fingers, and like he used the slur against her, I'm like, yeah, that's who you really are. And and then it comes back out in the barn or whatever, the room that's on fire. And at first I was like, okay, maybe Joel's gonna get here to save her. But then I was like, actually, in line with what you were saying, right? It's a much more powerful message if she saves herself from that horrific moment. I mean, there's arguably nothing worse than getting violated in that way. With someone who's like, not like, let me be very careful with my language here, but it's not like he was even under the influence of something. This was just pure, which doesn't justify it, but this is what I'm about to do with full consciousness of mind. Like, I'm deciding this. And for her to meet that with her own energy and then overcome it. And then I appreciated just it's a weird sentence to say. I appreciated the way that she killed him. Like there was no like, let me just stab him a couple times and then try and get. She's like, no, you're dead.
She was letting out all of her frustrations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
yes, like that. Yes. And then even on like the metaphoric side, he's the pastor, but the whole building was on fire. So I'm like, from a certain level, she was in hell. That was the worst thing that could have happened.
Ooh.
The pastor had created.
Look at you with the deep metaphors, man.
The pastor had created hell for her, and she
yeah.
fought her way out of hell.
Out of hell, yeah.
And the opposite of hell is not, I know we say heaven, but hell is hot, and she goes out into the cold where she finds Joel, which is her safety and her
wow. That is so much more. That is so much more poetic than what was in the game. The way you just described that. Because, you know, and there is no outside. It's just, it's that scene where they hug. I'll bring up the photo again, but it's that scene where they hug, and then the game cuts to the next scene. So we don't get that moment where they're outside, where it just transitions from, you know, this extreme temperature of hot, and there's these red hues that, like you said, kind of represents hell. And then we move into this white snow that could represent heaven or something that's more celestial, and that's her safety net where she sees Joel. So wow, I never looked at it like that, but that's far more poetic. I like it. I mean, they managed it with the little bit of creative liberties that they've done on this show. They managed to make them better. Like, you know, as someone who as a huge Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire fan, and the creative liberties, which, you know, we will not talk about that last season, but the creative liberties that they have taken, even in seasons where George R.R. Martin has actually written it on the page, you're like, why did they do that? But this, it's like, it's even better at times. So it's good stuff. So I did want to address one of the comments. Laura said, the one thing I don't understand is why they didn't set up Joel saying baby girl to Sarah like in the game. That's a good point, because I don't remember him actually saying baby girl to Sarah in the show. And I only remember the reference to the game because of the parallel that he says it to Sarah in the game at the very beginning. And it's a very, you know, it's a very intimate and close moment between these two characters. And then he calls Ellie baby girl, which is very like, okay, wow. For like the gamers are like, wow, he's calling her baby girl. So I don't remember him saying baby girl in the show, but maybe I missed it. So I don't know. Did you guys remember him saying baby girl to Sarah on the show?
I couldn't explicitly, like when he said it, I just assumed that that's what it was, like a callback to her. But now I actually can't remember if he says it or not.
Okay, Laura says he never says it in episode 1 of the show. So
I mean, as a creator, I believe it, because sometimes you're like, you get further down, you're like, oh, you know what would be cool? We should have him say baby girl. We didn't do it in the first episode. Don't worry about that. That's fine. It's cool now.
Yeah.
Kim Possible says that's deep, the heaven and hell connection. It is. I love it. Nante says more serene. Kim Possible says Joel called Sarah baby when she got shot. Okay.
Oh, okay. So like it was almost baby girl.
Oh yeah, close enough. But baby girl is more distinct. It makes a bit of a difference. Him calling her the same, you know, term of endearment as his daughter, because that's a signal that, okay, he sees Ellie the same way he sees Sarah, and that's going to change a lot of things that we're going to see in episode 9, which is the season finale. It is going to be a game changer, and I think it's going to be very divisive. I think it's going to divide a lot of fans next week when they see the episode. So should be very interesting.
Fans being divisive? What are you talking about? That's not even like a thing.
I know. What's going on? I know.
Do we know how long the finale is going to be, or is that out, or are you at liberty to say?
I think it's going to be the same running time as all of the other previous episodes. I don't think it's like, yeah, I know.
I want like a 2 hour.
It should.
They need one. Yeah, it would be cool. Yeah.
I'm just waiting for season 2. I'm just waiting to sip some tea or drink some wine and see how people react to season 2. Because talk about some fan division. That's going to divide some fans in season 2.
See, I need to spend the next year playing the second game so I can be all about it when season 2 comes out.
There you go. Yeah. There you be on top of it. Nanto, the people that didn't play the game when the finale comes out. Yeah. Oh boy. Ooh boy. And I won't say anything. I won't say any names, but we will have an OG from the game make an appearance next week. So just like we saw Troy Baker, we will see another OG from the game, which will be exciting. People will be like, oh, I'm excited. I like that person. So
every week of this show, I wish I had like managed to just persevere through the first game and finish. I'm like, I missed out on so much. The whole community.
I actually have to play. I haven't played part 2. I need to play part 2. That's what I'll do while I wait. I'll just play it. But I do know what happens, but I need to play the game. I need to actually, yes. It's like a different experience when you're actually playing it. So anyway. Well, cool. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was a lovely and lively live stream. And I'm excited. I'm actually a little sad though. It's like, oh, it's our last one. And after part 2, you will not be smiling. No, you're not going to be smiling. But have we been smiling after each of these episodes though? Has any of these episodes been?
They made it through. We're like, oh, they made it through.
I know. Like, have any of these episodes been like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy, like I'm jumping for joy. But yeah. And then you guys are going to be holding it down because I won't be able to be on the stream next week. Next week is crazy. We're all tied up with everything around. I'm doing things. But you guys are holding it down and killing it. So I appreciate it.
Be here for sure.
Oh yeah, we'll be here with the wine. Maybe 2 glasses. We don't know what's gonna happen.
You're gonna need some glasses, some tissues, yeah.
Oh my gosh, some stuffies. A pillow,
some stuffies,
pillows.
Yeah, I'm just gonna open with my head back like this, like why?
There's gonna be no talking in next week's stream. The whole stream is just gonna be just crying into the camera.
Yeah, we're just gonna be like.
And I hope that because usually TV shows do this and networks do this. I hope that they start revealing like casting news about season 2 after the finale airs. Yeah, because I really want to know. Who's playing Abby.
Has season 2 been casted already? Is that like already
on? No, it's just been greenlit, so we don't know. Yeah, there was a Dina sighting, and nobody knows if that's official. So yeah, we don't know. Yeah, Nato know what I'm talking about. Who gonna be playing Abby? That's what and we need to form a prayer circle around that actress. That is all I want to know. Yes, indeed. So
Pedro's definitely gonna be able to renegotiate his contract. I'm like, he's hot right now.
Oh yes. Yeah. Pedro, I can't touch it with a 10-foot pole now.
Nah.
We did Jonathan Majors working more.
What's that?
I said, is Pedro or Jonathan Majors working more? Like, who's got more jobs these days?
Oh man.
She must be protected. Yeah, she must be protected at all costs. We need to protect her. Pedro is he's hot. He's nuclear.
Yeah,
I remember, quick story. I remember I was in my feelings because we did the junket for Wonder Woman 1984, and we didn't get Gal Gadot, and we didn't get Patty Jenkins, and I'm like, we're Black girl nerds. We should be getting the women, but we got Pedro Pascal. And I'm like, why did we get the dude? Now I'm like, damn, I should have.
I forgot that he was in that movie.
Yeah, Maxwell Lord. Not
I
not
did
his
too.
best.
I forgot he was in there too. Yeah, I forgot he was in there too. Yeah.
Yeah. But now we can't even we did Mandalorian, and no dice on getting Pedro. It's impossible getting Pedro now. So he's like,
he's big time.
Yeah.
I hope
the actress will be hated more than King. Yes. We can't talk too much about Abby, but she'll get the King
Joffrey. Oh yeah, please stop talking.
Joffrey.
Yeah. I was so glad when that fool died.
Yeah. Let's just say the actress that did the voice for her got a lot of she was cyberbullied a lot, which is not cool. Like, people just don't know how to act. I don't.
Yeah, they couldn't.
Guys, this is not real life. Calm down. This is not real life.
Yeah, well, you going after the voice, boy. That's
scary.
Like the actual face and everything on TV. Man, you just going after the person that's their voice.
Yeah, it's not that deep, y'all. It's not that deep. So, anywho, yeah, and the guy the actor that played Joffrey, what's his name? Jack Gleason. What, do you retire from acting after Game of Thrones?
I was about to ask that. I have not seen that dude.
Yeah,
understandably so though, because King Joffrey, boy, I don't know how you played that role. That's a hard one to play because people aren't separating when it comes to Game of Thrones. They're not separating the character and the actor. So I was wondering about that dude. I was like, where he gonna work next? Because that was a hard role.
It's been nowhere.
Yeah, it's been nowhere. That's
on the Game of Thrones residuals. That's what he's been doing.
Kim, we can't disclose that information at this time, but trust me when I say she will be the most hated character on the internet. That's all I can say.
Apparently, we got to play the second game.
Yeah. She's in the sequel to The Last of Us, so she's a character that's pretty prominent in that game.
You gotta get these companies to send us complimentary games. I feel like the price of these games is gonna go up.
Oh no! Don't look her up, Kim. Don't look her up.
No, just play the game. Don't look it up. Don't do it.
Don't do it. You'll spoil. If you don't know who Abby is, you're gonna spoil. And you don't want to do that to yourself. Unless you want to know what happens in that, but
you don't.
Yeah, you don't. Unless you just play the game. And then see what happens. And then be like everybody else when they found out what happened. And they're like, oh. So anyway, all right. That's my cue to end the stream. Otherwise, I'll slip out and say something I ain't supposed to say. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Ryan and Josh will be here next week to hold it down and go over the season finale and talk about all things minus Abby. And
yes, except that part.
We will talk about everybody but Abby. And hopefully they'll reveal some casting news. If you guys get that information, feel free to share all of that. And then until then, we'll see you next time. We'll see what's going to be happening out in these streets. And I'd love to do more of these shows in the future. So we'll see what happens. But thanks for hanging out with us and joining us all of these weeks doing The Last of Us. I'm speaking now as if it's over, but I'm just saying it now because
you're not gonna be here next week. We understand.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.